Magandang gabi, program fans. Ang sisiwalat natin sa ngayon po ay yung debate sa oral argument kanina sa Supreme Court. Patungkol po ito sa tinatawag si English na unprogrammed appropriation. Ano ba yung unprogrammed appropriation? Bago ko isasalang, nais kong maunawaan ninyo kung ano ibig sabihin ng unprogrammed appropriation. Masyadong malalim kasi ng English na ito eh. O sinasadya na pinapalalim ang English para hindi alam ng mamamayan kung paano ninanakaw ang pera nila. Yan po ang nakikita kong dahilan kung bakit gumagamit pa ng komplikadong English. Okay? Ang mga kababayan, bago tayo dumiritso, pasadahan muna natin kung ano mga balita sa ngayon. Nais ko lang ulitin din na mukhang sa ngayon pa lang, kinukongratulate ko na ngayon si Bong Revilla. Mananalo to sa kasong ito. Bakit? Sinasabi ko sa umpisa pa lang ang kasong sisampa sa kanya ay talagang drawing lang. Dinrawing lang ito ni Rimulya para nakadesinyo na mananalo. Yeah. You call them. Here's Spider-Man. You call them. Shout out. Shout out. Hello. Hello. Good evening, Nimrod. So, ang appropriations fund, unprogrammed appropriations po ay ganito po yon. Una, may tinatawag po na pera na gagamitin ng ating pamahalaan para sa pagpatakbo ng mga opisina. Lahat ng opisina. Pagbabayad sa lahat ng empleyado, kasama mga pulis, mga teachers, mga sundalo, pati mga kawatan, basta nakapasok sa gobyerno. Kahit ka nangangawat na, may sweldo pa. Grabe. Lalo na mga congressmen. Lahat po sila, mga allowances nila, dyan sa budget natin sa pera na ibinibigay ng pamahalaan sa kanila. Ang tawag po dyan ay appropriations. Yan ang tawag. Ngayon, dahil pangkalahatan, ginawa na general appropriations. Appropriation. Ang pinakaigsing tawag dyan, kung sa pampamilyang usapin, ang tawag po dyan ay budget. Nimrod, naimbag nga rabim, kada kayo amin. Mga kabalen, Maya Bengi. Ito ngayon po ang problema natin. Magbabudget, alamin ngayon kung magkano babudget. Kada opisina, merong gastos. Tapos, kasama rin sa budgeting dyan, yung mga proyekto pang tulay, pang flood control, pang farm to market roads. Kasama rin yan, binibigay na sa ayuda na ginagamit nila na tawag nila is soft projects. Doon sila kumikita. At lahat na po kasama dyan. So ngayon, ibig bilang po sabihin, magtatanong ka, magkano yung pera ng gobyerno gagastusin para sa sunod na taon. Alam mo po, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you the truth. Ang lahat ng gagastusin natin ay nasusunod yan po sa ating konstitusyon. Ang ating konstitusyon po ay istrikto. Sa pagsagawa ng mga budget para gagastusin sa ating pamahalaan sa kasunod na taon ay kailangan mayroong nakasunod sa anong mga panuntunan na nilagay sa ating konstitusyon. Ang pinakapagunahing sa ating konstitusyon patungkol sa budget ay number 1, Section 22, Article 7 ng ating Constitution. Ang Article 7 po ay patungkol po ito sa mga panuntunan kung patungkol sa Office of the President. Nakasaad po sa Section 22 na pagkatapos na mag-deliver ng State of the Nation Address ang Pangulo ng Pilipinas, sa loob ng 30 araw, dapat magbigay siya ng tinatawag na expenditure program. Expenditure. Kung sa Tagalog pa, yung mga programa ng pagkakagastusan. At dahil pang buong bansa, ang tawag nila ay National Expenditure Program. Kaya na marinig mo na magdebate sila. NEP, NEP, sa NEP. Magandang gabi kay Darlene Narvino. Salamat naman at tinawag mo sa ako'y gwapo. Bagay ang aking sombrero na Chicago Bulls. Okay. Si Bosonar Ciso Esteban, good PM attorney, God bless po. Okay. Si Helen Baguio, Naimbang Rami. So ngayon ganito. Sabi natin sa Section 22, kinakailangan ang kahit sino man ang presidente magsusuna siya. Sa loob ng 30 araw, ibibigay niya ang listahan ng mga gagastusin para sa sunod na taon. At kailangan ang listahan na gagawin niya, kailangan may basihan kung saan manggagaling ang pera o ang pundo. Siyempre, buwis yun. Siyempre, tarif yun sa customs. Siyempre, may iba pa pagkukunan. Maaring magbebenta ng lupa ang pamahalaan. Maaring mga korporasyon ng pamahalaan kikita. Yes, kikita siya. Ang sobra, ibigay sa pamahalaan. Ang SSS, ganun din. Ang PhilHealth, na ninakawan ng PhilHealth na nakaraan, di ba? 60 million. Ang PDIC, Philippine Deposit Insurance Corporation, magbibigay din, kinukunan din nila. So yan mga pinagkukunan ng pundo. Ano pang iba? Yung nagagaling sa, halimbawa, umutang sila sa South Korea, patayo o Japan, magpatayo ng tulay. Yan din kumukuha ng pundo sa mga utang. Ang tawag dyan, Foreign Assisted Projects. FAP. Okay. So yan ang mga pagkukunan ng pundo. Sabi sa Section 22, kailangan may BESF, Budget Expenditure and Sourcing of Funds. Kailangan ang isumiti ng presidente sa Kongreso, una doon sa House of Representatives, ang ibibigay niya na programa kung pagkano kagastusan sa susunod na taon, kailangan suportahan ng Pangulo kung may pera ba. Para lang ito mag-asawa sa isang pamilya eh. Magtatanungan ang mag-asawa. Sabi ng asawa ko na si sabi niya, meron ba tayong anong gastusin? Pwede ba tayo makabili ng kotse sa sunod na taon? Sabihin ko, tingnan natin, kita natin kung meron. Kung may sobra, pambili ng kotse. Pero kung wala, kakain na lang ako ng saluyot araw-araw. Sumunod kayo sa akin. Sabi ni Doc Willie Ong, nakasurvive sa cancer. Ang sabi ng sarili niya ring doktor sa Singapore, kumain ka lang ng isang cup na dahon. Ang kirekomenda, saluyot. Araw-araw, ang lahat ng mga dumi sa iyong tiyan lalabas at magiging healthy ka. Tingnan mo, 3 buwan pa lang, 3 linggo pa lang ako kumakain na tuloy-tuloy. Isang cup na saluyot. Ganun po. Bahala kayo. Anyway, kung wala na kayong pera, yan ang takbuhan nyo. Saluyot na lang kayo araw-araw. May, ka pa, healthy ka na, naka-minus ka pa ng gastos. So anyway, ang puntos ko lang dito, nais ng konstitusyon o pinakamataas na batas na sinisiguro na kapag mag-budget ang ating pamahalaan, kailangan may pagkukunan ng pundo. So, ililistahin nga ni BBM. Ang problema kay BBM, ang daming flood control ni kalagay. So, ngayon, ang tanong naman ito ngayon, ano bang pagkagastusan natin? Ano bang prioridad? Ano bang unahin natin? Anong hindi muna? Ang problema sa pag-upo ni BBM na hindi masyado nangyari sa panahon ni Duterte ay binuhos nila ang pera nila sa flood control projects. Bakit naman flood control project? Kasi po, pwede nila dayain ang pag-construct tapos kikita sila ng malaki. Ako bilang civil engineer, overestimate ang tawag namin sa kanilang estimate. Biro mo, 50 meters ang haba. Tapos babadgetin nila 100 million. Ibig sabihin, 50 meters, 100 million. Ibig sabihin, kada metro, 2 million. Isipin mo nga, ang budget na flood control, revetment, ang tawag. Halimbawa, yung revetment, yan po yung parang imaginein mo, may simento na nakapatong sa pampang ng ilog, pataas. Yan na, 1 meter yan, pababa, mula sa taas, papunta sa ilog, sa baba, 2 million. Maniwala kayo, 2 million? Tapos nang binuksan, panay bato. Lupa lang sinalim. Wala. Kung lalagyan mo ng bakal, 6 mm. Alam mo yung sukat kasi ng bakal ganito bilang civil engineer ako. Standard yan, 6 mm pinakamaliit. Ano ba yung laki ng 6 mm? Alam nyo ba yung bala ng 9 mm. Yan ang 9 mm. Bawasan mo pala ng konti, yan ang 6 mm na bakal. Okay? O di kaya 45 na lang na bala. Imagine nyo so gano'n ka ang laki ng bilog ng 45. Hatiin mo yan, gano'n kalaki ang kabilya o bakal ng 6 mm. Ngayon, ang prescribed, dapat 12 mm. Ang 12 mm, kalahating inch ang bilog, ang diametro. Ang nilagay ay 6 mm, kundi kaya 9 mm. So, ibig sabihin, yan po ang mga paglalaroan nila para kumita sila. Tapos, imbes na sa 1 metro na yan, pababa, ini-estimate ko sa biglang tingin lang, siguro gagastos ka ng mga 30 na sako na 30 sa sako ng simento. Ang gagawin niya, ay gagawin niya 5 sako lang ng simento. Damihan ng may extenders, damihan ng ang buhangin, may bato-bato, at saka barata na, ayos na. Singil ka agad. Yan ay kung gagawin. Nauso pa sa panahon. Saan ka makita, dami namang corrupt na presidente. Ngayon lang sa panahon, BBM na uso ang walang gawa. Guni-guni. Grabe. Tapos maningil. Kagaya sa kaso, kinaso kay Bong Revilla. Mananaig naman to, mananalo si Bong Revilla dito. Gawa-gawa lang ang kaso laban sa kanya. Ha? Kinasuhan siya na binulsa daw niya 92.8 million sa isang flood control project dun sa Pandi, Bulacan. Tapos, tanong ko, ang halaga ng project, 92.8 million kasi biniding eh. Imbis 100 million, nanalo 2.8 million, 92.8 million. Ang tanong, 92.8 million ang halaga ng pera ng project. Paano napunta? Paano nakuha ni Bong Revilla? Ibig mo sabihin nun, ang mga engineer pumayag. Hindi man lang humingi kay Bong Revilla. Hindi man lang kumontra. Lahat ng engineer dyan. Kailangan may contractor. Ibig mo sabihin, contractor ni Bong Revilla. Ibig mo sabihin, hindi rin kumuha ang contractor ni Bong Revilla. Napaka-imposible na kaso eh. Sa biglang tingin ko pa lang, hindi mananalig. Alam mo, sigurado ako mananalo yan. Base ko lang sa aking karanasan bilang trial lawyer. Sundalo po ako sa loob ng korte. Yung mga abogado sa labas, mga dilamesa, kagaya ni Jinky Lucaret Luestro, mga abogado dilamesa lang sila. Si Terry doon, abogado dilamesa lang mga yan. Panay pamali-mali mga batas ginagamit nila. Take it from me. Kailangan i-convict natin si Bong Revilla, pero hindi mangyari. Ito na, balik na tayo sa lecture natin. Ganun pala. Kaya gusto nila ang flood control. Yun po ang nangyari. So ngayon, ang proseso ng budgeting, sabi ko magmumula sa presidente at kailangan bago niya ibigay sa House of Representatives, kailangan kompleto, may listahan saan kukuha ng pondo. Kaya very clear yan. Nakabase naman sa estimates kung magkano kinita nung nakaraang taon, doon sila magbabase. So, nakakwenta yan kung ilang litro na. Alam mo ba, kapag kumuha lang ng buwis ang pamahalaan natin sa bawat litro ng gasolina o krudo, hindi na kailangan ang income tax na, hindi na kailangan magbayad pa ng buwis ang tao sa income. Sobra-sobra na kinikita para matawid natin ang ating pamahalaan. Pero wala. Kinukuha pa sa di nanakaw pa. So anyway, ang nangyari dyan, pagkatapos niyan, sasalain naman ngayon ng Kongreso. Ang Kongreso, nakalagay naman ang kasunod na batas ng konstitusyon ng utos, dapat hindi kayo lalampas ang budget ninyo sa pera na tinalaga ng Office of the President. Kung tinalaga ng Office of the President ay 6 trillion lamang, hindi na sila dapat tataas pa sa 6 trillion. Nang ibig naman sabihin, maaring palitan nila ay mga proyekto na kalagay sa budget law or appropriations proposal. Pero hindi rin sila pwedeng lumampas. Kung 6 trillion lang nilagay, 6 trillion lang yan. So yan pong nangyari. Pagkatapos niyan, babaguhin na naman, ipasa sa Senado. Babaguhin naman Senado. Kani-kanyang manok sila eh. Pero hindi rin pwede itaas ng Senado. Hanggang 6 trillion lang din sila. Eh ngayon, magkakalabera na yan. Ngayon, maghalo-halo ng balat sa tinalupan, may mga proyekto ang dinilagay congressman, ayaw ng senador. May proyekto dinilagay yung mga senador, ayaw ng congressman. Kaya, hindi siya pwede magiging batas kung hindi sila magkakasundo. Anong gagawin? So, naimbento ang tinawag na Bicameral Conference Committee. Sa loob ng Bicameral Conference Committee, may representante mula sa House of Representatives, kapareho din sa dami ng representante mula sa Senate. At sila doon magbi-meeting. Sa budget, para sa halimbawa, sa Ilocos Norte, itong tulay, mag-away. Sabi ng mga senador, hindi sa amin, ano lang yan eh, 20 million lang eh. Sabi naman kongresista, hindi, ginawa namin 50 million yan eh. Ganun ang mga labanan. So pagkatapos niyan, ayusin nila at kung magkaayos na, ibalik sa kanyang bahay, House of Representatives at saka Senate, yung pinag-isa ay aprubahan ulit, buto-butuhan ng bawat member sa House at member hiwalay sa Senate. At kung majority makuha sa kabila, ang tawag na ngayon ay enrolled bill. Ipapasa na ngayon yan sa Pangulo, pipirmahan, maging batas. Pero bago pirmahan, pwedeng usisain ng Pangulo at tanggalin niyang ayaw niya. Ganoon po yun. So, kung ganon ang proseso, ang tanong, ano naman yun unprogrammed appropriation? Ang pinag-usapan natin, appropriation yun, nakaprograma. Pag nakaprograma, Lisa, may pundo yun. Painom muna tayo ng nauhaw tayo eh. So ngayon, sa mga budget na nakapundo, may pundo, alam mo kasi baka walang katapusan yung ganid eh. Naliitan sila sa kinikita nila. Nagtatanong sa sarili, paano natin lakihan ang kinikita natin? Nag-awayan kasi kailangan lahat ng politiko. Kaya yan po ang dahilan kung bakit may political dynasty. Pinapayagan ng sistema na kumita ang mga politiko para kasunod na eleksyon, may binabaon sa bulsa nila na pambili ng boto para sa sunod na eleksyon. Yan din po dahilan kung bakit hindi matalo-talo si Joel Chua dyan sa District 3. Bagay, 3,000 lang lamang niya kay Apple Nieto, pero sunod na eleksyon, titirahin siya niyan. Kaya maraming pera lang po, lamang lang ng Joel Chua kasi 2 billion binigay sa kanya ni Romualdez. Yan po ang totoo. Tapos si Versosa naman, binigyan pala, dikit pala kay Romualdez. Ang front row niya, ginamit ni Romualdez na pang money laundering, panghugas ng pera ni Romualdez. Kaya dahil pinatakbo si Versosa sa Maynila. Buti na lang hindi siya nanalo. Kung hindi, patay tayong bata tayo. So, ngayon alam niyo na. Ganun po proseso ng budget. So ngayon, para kumita na mas malaki, nakapag-isip ang matatalino. Alam mo, wala akong matalino na hindi, wala akong nakitang tuso na hindi matalino eh. Lahat ata ng tuso is talagang sadyang matalino. Nakapag-imbento sila ng tinatawag na unprogrammed appropriations. Sabi niya, unprogrammed naman ito, walang pundo, so hindi makalabag sa konstitusyon na nagsasabi na hindi pwede na mas mataas pa sa proposal ng Pangulo ang budget natin. So sabi na, hindi naman po tumaas kasi wala namang pundo ito eh. And abang na ito, nakaabang. Kung may sobrang pundo, saka gagamitin. Ganun po ang argumento nila. Tapos, naglalagay sila ng rider. Ibig sabihin, probation naglalagay. Ang mga unprogrammed appropriations na nakalista sa ibaba ay maaring mapunduhan lamang kung may conditions na, number one, kung may sobra sa kita. Kung may sobra sa kita. Ang kita, buwis sa customs, yan ang sabi na kung may sobra sa kita. Pangalawa, kung may bagong batas na may pasa na mangangalap ng bagong buwis, pwede rin kukunin doon. Yan nilagay nila. Ang pangatlo, kung makautang sa mga bangko na pampundo, pwede rin kunin doon. Kita, ang talino talaga ng mga tuso. Ngayon, pwede ba yun? Yan ang debate kanina sa Supreme Court. Ang tanong, pwede ba yan? Total, wala namang pundo eh. Pero, dito po, nakalista sa report po ni Ben Diokno, at saka sa report ni Ben Diokno, nagsimula ang mga unprogrammed appropriation. Actually, sa panahon ni Ramos, pero maliit lang. Pero ang pinakamaliit, panahon ni Noynoy meron. Pero ang pinakamaliit, panahon ni Duterte, pinakamaliit, 2022 lang nagkaroon ng unprogrammed appropriation sa panahon ni Duterte. Isang pieces na, isang taon lang. Ang 2022, hinati pa yun kasi si Bongbong pumasok June 30, 2022. Ito si Bongbong. Sabi pa ni attorney ng kaibigan ko, si Bongbong, nag-presidente talaga, pinilit niya para makapaghiganti sa mga Pilipino na papatalsik sa tatay niya. Yan daw ang agenda ni Bongbong. So kaya, gumawa sila ng diskarte para maloko nila Pilipino. May nga pangako, meron kami Italiano gold, maraming gold ipamimigay kung panalo kami. Asan ang gold ngayon? Ha, BBM? Ibig na kayo may mimigay, kami ang namimigay sa iyo, mali-malita pa. Tarantado ka talaga. So, ganun po ang nangyari. Dahil sa ganit nila, walang katapusan, nag-imbento ng appropriations fund. Para mapunduhan, kailangan punduhan. Kailangan punduhan para maipagawa ang proyekto. Pero paano? Saan kukuha ng pundo? Kaya nga po, nakita nyo, 2024, kinuha ang 90 billion mula sa PhilHealth para ipatayo lang ng mga flood control. Hindi pa nagkasya, kinumuha ng 117 billion mula sa Philippine Deposit Insurance Corporation. Nanalo na sa Supreme Court, inutusan sila ibalik ang 60 million ng PhilHealth. Hindi pa na ibalik hanggang ngayon. Pangako pa lang yun. Tapos, ang PDIC, hindi pa na ibalik. 117 billion. Marami pang iba. So, naintindihan na ninyo? Philippine Deposit Insurance Corporation. Ang pera po ng PDIC ay pera yan ng mga pribadong bangko. Bakit? Lahat po ng pribadong bangko ay nagbibigay kada taon ng tinatawag na premium. Para sa kasakali may matumba o malugi na bangko, ang premium nila ang sasagot sa mga deposito ng mga depositors para ibalik sa mga nagdeposito ang pera nila. Ito, ang layunin nito ay para maudyok ang mga mamamayan na huwag magtago ng kanilang pera sa ilalim ng kanilang kama. O kung may vault sila o saan, kailangan ilagay sa mga bangko natin. Bakit kailangan ilagay sa mga bangko natin? Para po mayroong pera magagamit, ipautang sa mga negosyante para lalago naman ang ating ekonomiya kung may sigla naman ang negosyo. Ganun po kaisipan dyan. Ganun din ang kaisipan kung bakit may tinatag na Bank Secrecy Law. Republic Act 1405. Anong kaisipan dyan? Para po, maingganyo din ang lahat ng tao na magdeposito sa bangko. At para lalang maingganyo sila, may pangako ang pamahalaan Pangako, hindi namin bubuksan ang inyong bangko. Basta magdeposito naman kayo kahit sa pagnanakaw pa ng galing yan. Ang importante, mapuno natin ang ating mga bangko ng pera para may magagamit ng mga negosyante na mautangan. So, naintindihan niyo ngayon kung bakit hindi ganun ka basta-basta magpabukas ng bangko? Yung mga anti-Sara, akala na mabuksan na yung bangko. Ay, napakabobo sa inyo. Mamaya sa sunod na topic ko ng buksi, pag-usapan yan dito muna sa program funds. So, ibig sabihin, mga mahal ko, nagkaroon na ngayon sitwasyon. Kinukontra yan. Sabi, ang palusot na Manila ni Bongbong Marcos, sa panahon lang, tandaan nyo, sa panahon lang ni Bongbong Marcos, ni Romualdez, at ni Saldico, nangyari yung unprogrammed appropriations na napakalaki. Umaabot pinakamalaki 731 billion. Puro flood control. Bakit? Para makumita sila. Kasi hindi sapat ang kinikita nila kung yung nakaprograma lang. Kailangan mas mahigit pang kikitain nila. Kaya yan po ang nangyari at nangutang sila. Maliban sa kinuha nila na pundo na 90 billion sa PhilHealth, 117 billion mula sa PDIC, ay nangutang pa sila kaya hanggang ngayon, umaabot na po sa 18.2 trillion ang utang ng Pilipinas. Sa panahon ni Duterte, nang binitawan niya, ibinigay kay Bongbong, 12.8 trillion pesos lang ang utang ng Pilipinas. 12.8. Ano ngayon? 4 na taon pa lang siya. 18.2 minus 12.8, that is 4.4. Adi, mahigit. 18.2 minus 12, that is 6. 6 minus 8, that is 5.2 trillion ang inutang ni BBM sa loob lamang ng 4 na taon. Madadagdagan pa yan. Si Duterte, ang inutang niya, nung sinalo niya kay Noynoy Aquino, ang renta ng bayan ay ang utang ng Pilipinas ay nasa 5 nasa level ng 5 trillion. Basta kung ibawas mo, ang inutang lamang ni Duterte, may COVID pa yan, ha? May bill pa. Sa loob ng 6 na taon ay 6.8 trillion lamang. Malapit na malampasan ni Bongbong Marcos. May 2 taon pa siya na pagnanakaw. So, iyan po ang unprogrammed funds natin. Ngayon, pinaikot nila ang batas. Total, hindi naman bawal yan. Unprogrammed naman niya, walang pundo. Ang inikutan nilang batas ay yung pagbabawal na lampasan ang pundo na tinalaga ng presidente na hanggang dyan lang ang ating budget. Sagot nila ng mga tarantado ng mga buaya. Sabi niya, ay, total, ano naman ito eh? Unprogrammed, hindi kasama sa pagbabawal. Kita mo, pinaikot. Dapat nalaman ninyo sa prinsipyo, what cannot be done directly can never be done indirectly. Yan po nangyari. So pakinggan natin, napahiya dito si Solicitor General Darlene Berberabi. Pakinggan natin sa mga tanong ni ni Justice Marvic Leonen. Ito, pakinggan yan. Dito, maganda pagsalansan ng tanong ni Justice Marvic Leonen. Pakinggan niyo po. Ito.
All persons
Thank you, Madam Solicitor General. I hope that you had a good lunch. I understand that the Solicitor General's office provided for their own packed lunch.
Yes.
Yes, but just to inform you that we provided food for everybody else just for disclosure purposes. So the amicus and the petitioners counsel.
Uh,
But we thank you for saving the court some expense.
we did not want to assume that we will be included.
Yes, and please don't assume next week, next time again. That is fiscal discipline. Now, just to start off, so there is what is called a the budget of expenditures and sources of funds. This is called the BESF, just so we are familiar with the terminology. And the BESF is a part of the NEP, the National Expenditure Program, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And the National Expenditure Program contains the BESF, the Budget for Expenditures and Sources of Funds, and a more detailed listing of the expenditures divided by purpose and divided by classification, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, plus the automatic appropriation, but
Yes.
only for information.
Yes. Yes, and it seems that is one of the issues that we have also for this case,
Within.
that from your perspective, there are three parts. There is the program, there is the unprogrammed, and there is the automatic appropriation. But on the other end, they are classifying it only as programmed and unprogrammed. But that nonetheless, just so we are familiar with the figures. And then there is what is called a total expenditures for the program, a TEP, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And this is the total amount for the NEP that is proposed by the budget of the President, correct?
Kaya para maintindihan nyo, yan po yung sinatawag ko kanina National Expenditure Program. Sinasabi ni Justice Lurin, sa total na pera ay kasama dyan yung tinatawag automatic appropriation sa mga utang na dapat ating bayaran. So kasama dyan yung mga program funds at kasama pa kung anong ibang mga proyekto na gagastusin.
Yes, Your Honor.
Just so we're clear, the NEP, the National Expenditure Program, is otherwise called the President's Budget, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. And after the President's budget goes through the House of Representatives, the House of Representatives produce a General Appropriations Bill, or what is often referred to as the GAB, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And after that, it is given to the Senate, and in the Senate, they just call it the bill on third reading, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And after that, if there are disagreeing provisions, they call a bicameral conference committee or a BCC. And this BCC, therefore, produces a proposed resolution where both houses will ratify, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And from there, they produce the General Appropriations Act for the signature of the President, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And after the GAA, the President exercises a different kind of veto. We will examine that later, which is called a line item veto, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And the President signs the GAA within a set time. Otherwise, it will be reenacted. But along with his signature, the President formally communicates his vetoed items to the House and the Senate, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And the House and the Senate may overturn the veto based on the Constitution by a 2/3 vote, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Now, do you recall the amount of unprogrammed funds proposed in the NEP, National Expenditure Program, of the President in 2024 for unprogrammed? You recall the amount?
Yes, Your Honor. I have it in my notes. The unprogrammed appropriation proposed by the President in the NEP for 2024 was 281
281
281 billion.
billion 908 million 056, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Yes. How much was the approved on third reading in the GAB, the General Appropriations Bill of the House, in terms of unprogrammed appropriations?
Your Honor, I only have what's in the GAA.
It was 281 billion 908 million and 56, similar to the NEP. Would you know how much in terms of unprogrammed appropriations did the Senate approve before the BICAM? Again, it was 281 billion 908,056. So as far as we are concerned in 2024, which is the subject of the petition of Lagman et al. And Pimentel et al., the NEP was 281 billion, the GAB was 281 billion, the Senate was 281 billion, correct?
Correct.
And how much was the proposal of the BICAM when it met to conciliate disagreeing provisions?
Ito, ipapaliwanag ni Justice Leonid na nung sinumiti ni Amina Pangandaman na budget ni President Marcos, may unprogrammed appropriation sila na nilagay na 281 billion. Tapos nung pinasa sa House of Representatives, na-maintain yung 281 billion, hindi tinanggal. Nung pinasa naman sa Senado, kasi ilang proseso ng budgeting, hindi rin tinanggal ang 281 billion. In other words, take note, walang pinag-iba ang budget ng Senado tsaka budget ng Kongreso sa halaga. So, ibig sabihin, wala silang dapat ayusin na pagtugmain kasi nagkatugma na. Ngayon, papasok sila sa Bicameral Conference Committee, magugulat kayo, pinataasan pa nila, dinagdagan pa nila ng 500 billion. Pakinggan nyo.
How much in unappropriated, unprogrammed appropriations?
Your Honor, it is 731 billion 440.
Yan, naging 731
So,
billion from 281. So, minus. That is less than 500. 500. May mahigit 500.
It was 731 billion. Okay?
Yes.
And just so we are clear, let's show the
450.
slide so everybody knows what we are talking about.
So, ibig sabihin, pinataasan pa ng Bicameral Conference Committee ng 450 billion.
Up there, you will see now, NEP 281, GAB 281, Senate 281, BICAM 731.
Grabe.
Correct,
Correct.
Madam Soljen?
Grabe.
And per your argument, this is something that we should respect because it is an act of wisdom on the part of both houses to increase what was not debated upon from 281 to 731, meaning that there was a difference of 449.5 billion added into unprogrammed appropriations, correct?
May I qualify my answer?
Yes,
Your
yes,
Honor?
please, go
Namilipid si
ahead.
OSG.
It is a question of wisdom.
Ha!
Because
Bad
when it's an
wisdom.
act of wisdom, it might be ambiguous as to there's already a judgment if it was wise
Yes.
or not.
Yes.
And the hope of our hope is for the court to rule on a narrow question as to checking whether the power that was exercised by the Congress is within the constitutionally required constitutional requirements or if it was within the limitations that are provided by the Constitution, Your Honor.
Okay, I will take that for now. In terms of total expenditures under the NEP, the National Expenditure Program of the President in 2024, would you recall how much it was? It was 4,301,676,000,000 and some thousands of pesos, correct?
In my notes, Your Honor, it is the total expenditure program is 5.7
For the NEP,
billion.
under the
For
NEP,
the
2024.
NEP,
It was 4.3. correct? At any point, Solgen, if the DBM representative is here, the chief has reminded me that you may consult with the Department of Budget and Management if they are here.
There are representatives of the DBM
Here.
here.
That's good to know because we might ask for an increase in the budget of the judiciary also. But that nonetheless, so it was 4.3, and in 2024, the total GAA expenditure was 4.7. Again, I put up the slides. Correct me if I am wrong. In 2024, the NEP was 4.3, the GAA was 4.7. So in terms of the total, it was increased. And the NEP, correct me if I'm wrong, Madam Solgen, the NEP contained both program and unprogram, correct? The National Expenditure Program or the President's budget already contained a proposal for unprogram, correct?
Oh,
Yes.
that's it. That's
So
correct.
the NEP is both program, automatic, and unprogrammed, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
But in 2026, which is also a budget in issue today, this is the petition of Congressman Erice, who was here, and Congressman De Lima. The NEP was 4.6 billion, correct?
For 2026.
Six. I put it up there. But what was actually approved by the houses, by both houses, and the president was lower. It was 4.646, with a corresponding decrease also in the unprogrammed appropriation, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, okay. So that we know what we're talking about, in 2024, we will start to put up now the additions in the unprogrammed fund that was included after not the third readings of the houses, both the House and the Senate, but after the BICAM. So the first slide will show you, let's put up the slide, Panay Guimaras Island Bridges Project, 3 billion. Universal access to quality tertiary education, 7 billion. This was from the program transferred into the unprogrammed, correct, Solgen?
Yes, Your Honor.
And universal access to quality tertiary education, would you know if there is a law that actually requires funding for this? Universal access to quality tertiary education.
May I confer, Your Honor, with my team?
Yes, you may defer your answer until, unless you have it now, yes? Is this the Bama-Aquino law? Yes, and this is the law that actually provides free tertiary education, which was first under the President's budget program. But in 2024, it was moved to unprogrammed. And later on, of course, we will ask questions about whether this is in fact not only constitutional, but whether it was legal that it is moved from one program item to unprogrammed. Then there is number 11, a quite interesting nomenclature, priority social programs for health, social welfare and development. It says priority, but this also came from program and it was transferred to unprogrammed, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. The AFP has been wanting modernization for a long time, but the revised AFP modernization program of 10 billion, is this billion? Yes, was
10 billion.
transferred to unprogrammed funds, correct?
Kita mo?
Correct, Your Honor.
Yes.
Binasketball
Then
naman
also, payment of right-of-way was transferred from program to unprogrammed, amount of 3 billion, correct? Yes.
Correct, Your Honor.
And then pre-feasibility studies, preliminary
Hey,
and
guys.
detailed engineering, 3 billion. Later on, we will encounter this again. And then next, public-private partnership, strategic support fund, maintenance, repair, rehabilitation of infrastructure. Number 17 is interesting. government counterpart of foreign assisted project in the amount of 51 billion. This is different
Joke, guys.
from the item on foreign assisted projects that I will show you later. This came from program. This was a definite expenditure for government counterpart for foreign assisted projects. It was moved from the program funds to the unprogrammed. Then next, for the repair, rehabilitation, and expansion of Dalawa International Airport, I can only guess who transferred this. Payment of personnel benefits in number 19. Madam Solgen, you agree that 59 billion for payment of personal benefits was considered as unprogrammed from program, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then, pension and gratuity fund. This means that the retirement fund of a lot of our government employees, and I can only guess perhaps a portion of this, some of our judiciary personnel not covered by our existing law, 40 billion, 250 also to the unprogrammed, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then you have the libreng sakay became unprogrammed, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Also the screening of anti-terrorist equipment, etc., unprogrammed. National Data Privacy Program, 620 million, became unprogrammed. Preparation for national election in 2025.
By the way, binabanggit ito ni Justice Lurin. Ito yung mga nakaprogram, tinanggal sa program, ginawang unprogram.
Since there was no election, perhaps they moved it to unprogrammed. Construction and repair of NFA warehouse facilities, also unprogrammed. Development and modernization plan for the Iwahig. Then the next slide, you will see there, interestingly, acquisition of fire trucks became unprogrammed, not programmed. Then digital agriculture project also became unprogrammed. Then the next slide, aquaculture, fisheries, Marawi siege victims compensation program. This is the long-awaited compensation to the victims of Marawi. From program, it was transferred to unprogrammed.
Grabe.
Supplementary feeding program, I think this was for younger kids that were indigents. Then, next slide, the creation of lawyer positions in the PAO became unprogrammed. Perhaps lawyers are not that important anyway. And then we have finally the last one, number 50, OWA Welfare Services. This is the office that produces support for OFWs, was also moved to the unprogrammed funds. This was in 2024. Oh, and total, at the end, there is local government support fund in the amount of 5 billion was moved from program to unprogrammed. We will ask you later what this is, what this item is all about, or perhaps some of my colleagues will be able to ask you if I cannot. And the total in terms of additions to unprogrammed was 303 billion. Correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
So ngayon, guys, ang nangyari po dito, yung mga program, nakaprograma na may pondo, nilipat sa hindi bigyan ng programa. Kasi ang gusto nila makasiguro na may pera yung kanilang flood control projects. Dito po sa panahon na ito, lumobo ang budget ng DPWH. Mahigit 1 trillion for the first time in history. At mas mataas pa sa budget ng Department of Education. Alam mo lang nga, nakautos sa Constitution na dapat ang pinakamataas na budget ay yung sektor ng edukasyon. Dito for the first time ever, nataasan ang budget ng sektor. Ngayon, para ma-remedyohan nila ni Bongbong Marcos at hindi ayaw nilang bawasan ang kanilang flood control projects. Ang ginawa nila, nilista nila, kunwari, sinama sa project ng education ang pondo na binigay sa Philippine Military Academy. Military, yun hindi yun education. Ang pondo sa Philippine National Police Academy, sinama din doon bilang education. Ang pondo para sa Philippine Merchant Marine Academy, sinama din doon. Tapos sa DEP Academy, Development Academy of the Philippines, lahat ng mga government schools na for professionals ay sinama. para labang malampasan ang pundo ng DPWH at hindi na siya magiging unconstitutional. So, patuloy tayo, pakinggan natin.
This was not all. There was an increase in the already set items for unprogrammed. And the first one was mentioned by one of our amici and she called it a new pork barrel. I will not go to that extent because that may be a legal terminology, but it is definitely perhaps a lump sum item, which was covered also in the case of Arroyo, Belgica, especially the Belgica of 2013, penned by Justice Ben. So the NEP proposed that the SAGIP program was only 50 billion, but in 2024, this lump sum was increased to 225 billion pesos, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
And for support to foreign-assisted projects, maybe they were, as one of our amici was saying, they were predicting that some of the foreign-assisted projects in the pipeline might be approved. It was increased from 117 to 178, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
So this is the situation that I think all of us are agreed upon, which is now at issue, because 2024, as shown by our various amici, was the year where there was an extraordinary increase in the amount of unappropriated, unprogrammed funds, not unappropriated, but unprogrammed funds. Okay, now let us proceed. The concept, let's talk about the architecture in our Constitution because we need to talk about the various provisions in context so everybody understands it. So the Constitution does not give one branch of government what is usually referred to as the power of the purse, because the power of the purse is big and consistent with the architecture of the Constitution. The contents of that power are distributed among constitutional departments and organs. Do you agree?
I agree, Your Honor.
And the basic idea behind separation of powers is to prevent tyranny and ultimately to increase accountability, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
The separation of powers doctrine assumes that unchecked power tend towards tyranny. So liberty requires institutional restraints within government, assigning functions to distinct organs. The structure expresses a rule of law ideal, which is that governments must proceed in temporarily ordered phases: legislation, administration, adjudication, and accountability, rather than through undifferentiated sovereign will. You agree?
I agree, Your Honor.
And appropriation and spending funds are critical for governance. You agree?
I agree, Your Honor.
Appropriation and spending funds is not only because of whim, but it is part of an overall plan of the executive and hopefully with the participation of the legislative. And in our case, as presented by one of the amici, there is actually a Philippine Development Plan, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
And it is from 2023 to 2028, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Yes. Just to take note, the court has an SPJI, strategic plan also, and we are implementing it with budgeting also here. So, but in a political economy where there is a deficit of equality, where there is poverty, and when therefore there is a lot of disempowerment, with most of our people being only able to govern through voting and dissent and criticism, the extent of prerogative of those in departments or constitutional organs must be clearly and adequately defined. Do you agree?
I agree, Your Honor.
And in interpreting the Constitution, though, apart from this purpose, we must be mindful as the court that the judiciary, unlike the executive and the legislative, is not possessed with complete, current, and contingent information. You agree?
Agree, Your Honor.
And that the executive must also be given some appropriate leeway by both this court and Congress to address the current situation. You agree?
I agree, Your Honor.
And that laws, including the General Appropriations Act, are frameworks and limits plans of action, but they do not and should not unduly shackle the executive to address what has not been fully foreseen despite reasonable and diligent efforts, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Like the situation we have today, that when the budget was passed, no one could have imagined what will happen in the Middle East, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
But I am sure, and we are witness to the fact that both the House and the Senate are currently investigating, holding hearings in aid of legislation to see what they can do to supplement whatever powers are needed by the President to address the current situation. In fact, they passed a law allowing the President to suspend excise taxes, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Yes. In other words, we should be mindful that we should not jacket the reading of the text of the Constitution, even with precedents, and make sure that the Constitution should be a living but empowering document, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Yes, empowering, but also a document with accountability, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Because as Richard Posner said, the Constitution is a living document, but it is not a suicide pact, correct? In other words, the Constitution is a living document. However, it's not a suicide pact. In other words, all the departments must be rational in terms of arriving at their own conclusions with respect to their own power canalized, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. And for a purpose of exercising the power of the purse, just so that we are all clear, this is divided as follows. The executive, the president, and there's only one executive in the Constitution, it's the president, and everybody is the alter ego, prepares the budget, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
The legislature, and that is Congress, with the House acting first, authorizes or appropriates, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Then the president, and the president only, spends or executes with clarification, again, by our case in 2013, that the legislature has no participation in the post-enactment or execution stage. You agree?
Agree, Your Honor.
And the Commission on Audit, as a constitutional organ, checks on the expenditures, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
The Ombudsman can prosecute, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
And the judiciary, of course, is tasked with interpreting the boundaries of these powers as contained in the text of the Constitution and in statutes, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Now, during your presentation, in your opening statement, you mentioned the case of KMU versus Aquino. Do you recall in what context? That KMU versus Aquino is the ponensya that actually said that the court respects that all the organs of government can have first crack at the interpretation of the text of the Constitution, and it respects that, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
But then there is also some wording in that case that says that in the final analysis, it is the duty of this court to give a final reading, correct or wrong, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Yes. Would you know how I know?
You were the ponente.
Yes, I was the ponente and the case was unanimous in terms of this court.
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's look at the actual provisions in the budgetary process so that we are also clear. To look at the architecture of the Constitution, we start with the basic provision in Article 6, Section 29. So it's up there. No money shall be paid out of the treasury except in pursuance of an appropriation made by law. You agree with me that this single provision shows the relationship between the executive and the legislature, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Yes. Is there any other money that can be spent by government that is not in the treasury mentioned in the Constitution?
No, none, Your Honor.
All collections are submitted to the treasury except for fiscally autonomous institutions like the judiciary, because there is a separate provision in the Constitution for that, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Yes. So the whole cycle includes preparation of the budget, appropriation, budget execution, and budget audit. Agree?
I agree, Your Honor.
The issues we now face are generally about that stage of authorization or appropriation, correct?
Correct.
With its impact on preparation and execution, but principally about authorization. You agree?
I agree, Your Honor.
So, in terms of preparation, The provision, the basic provision on the part of the executive is Article 7, Section 22, which states that the President shall submit to the Congress within 30 days as basis for the General Appropriations Bill a budget of expenditures and sources of financing, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Yes. And the budget of expenditures and sources of financing in the current interpretation, in practice, contemporary executive interpretation, and in the law as contained in the administrative code, the BESF is actually the budget of expenditures and sources of financing, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
And it says including receipts from existing and proposed revenue measures, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
At some point, we will see that the word including is contested by the respondents and one of the petitioners. But it's very clear here that the President only submits one budget, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Because it says a budget of expenditures and sources of financing. We will relate this later to Section 25, subparagraph 1, in relation to the increases in the budget of the President, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Yes. And the budget contains, you agree with me, sources of financing, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Yes. Now, parenthetically, no, here. Does this provision allow deficits? In other words, is there anything in our Constitution that says that our budget must always be a balanced budget?
None, Your Honor.
Madam Soljan, just to be clear, what is a balanced budget?
A balanced budget, Your Honor, is you have expenditures, and the expenditures will have to be supported by the sources of financing.
Yes. So, would you say, so this allows for this statement, and the Constitution allows that the President actually tells Congress, we are going to have a deficit, correct? Based on the projected revenues as well as the expenditures, that we will have deficits, correct?
Can you repeat your question?
In other words, that the Constitution allows the President to communicate to Congress through the NEP and through the budget of expenditures and sources of finance that we are expecting to have a budgetary deficit, which means that our current income revenues coming from tax and non-tax measures will not be sufficient to cover the proposed authorization of expenses, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Yes. Sa madalit salita, pwedeng sabihin ng Pangulo sa ating Kongreso na ang kanyang budget ay kulang sa revenue pero mas marami ang expenditures. Tama?
Tama, Your Honor.
Yes.
May I clarify
Yes.
also? In our briefings by the DBM, what we understand is that even the deficit spending is being planned and part of
Yes.
there is a deficit framework.
Yes.
Globally, there could be a target level which is accepted as an acceptable level, and it will depend on our executive branch
Yes.
as to what that level is.
Actually, later, we will go into a bit of the economics just to make sure that people know that this is legitimate to have a deficit financing. I will not go into it with you. I will go into it with some of my former professors. And I do so with a lot of trepidation because I did get a high grade in basic economics from Professor Monsod and also a higher grade in public finance from Professor Dr. Jokno. And I don't know if they can recall those grades now. But in any case, subject to contempt of court, of course. So deficits are there. Mainly, they can be filled in by income. Let us say they did not predict that there was high dividends from one of our government-owned and controlled corporation, non-tax revenue, correct? or perhaps a new tax that would be passed by government, correct?
Correct.
Or a good performance of our economy, therefore increasing the amount that we collect in, let us say, value-added tax because there is more transactions, correct?
Correct.
So also, it can be filled in by borrowings,
Correct.
such as, for instance, when the Monetary Board issues a treasury bill of different maturities depending on their monetary policy. And these are actually borrowings that we have, correct?
Correct.
And technically speaking, all our currency is in a debt, except that we will not get into that, correct?
Thank you, Your Honor.
And that it is also possible that we borrow from foreign sources, correct?
Correct.
And with respect to foreign sources, that is also regulated by the Constitution, more specifically Section 20, which actually says that the only, that we can contract, the President may contract foreign loans only with the prior concurrence of the Monetary Board, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
And that the Constitution also says the discretion of the Monetary Board and the President to contract foreign loans can be regulated also by Congress because it says as may be provided by law, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
And that at the end of each calendar year, there is a submission to the Congress so that they can monitor our foreign loans and what we have guaranteed. There is a report, correct?
Correct.
And that the manner of this report can be governed also by law, correct?
Correct.
So there is a check and balance with respect to foreign borrowings, and this was wisely included in our 87 Constitution. It was not in our 35 Constitution by the constitutional commissioners. One of them is actually present in the session hall right now in the person of Commissioner Christian Monsod, correct? Yes, and I had the privilege of being a research assistant of a constitutional commissioner. I carried the briefcase of one of them at that time, so I know how they thought in a while. Okay, and domestic borrowings. Who authorizes domestic borrowings? If you know,
I confer.
the Monetary Board for Treasury bills, etc., and others. Okay, now. All these proposed borrowings, should they be indicated in the budget of expenditures and sources of financing?
It should be included.
So it is there. It is part of the premise of the budget that is given there. They are going to say, the President is going to say in the BESF that there are going to be loans. So in other words, the NEP already contains all the premises for all types of budget, program, unprogram, etc. Correct?
Correct.
Yes. And now let's look at authorization, just so we're on the same page. One of the main bases and the point of contention is Section 29, well, not really contention, but 29, subparagraph 1 and 3 of Article 6. So we already mentioned subparagraph 1, and then there is the concept of a special fund, and this was interrogated by the court in the latest case of involving PhilHealth with Justice Ami as the ponensya, for which our amici Professor Monsod said we did something good, correct?
Correct.
Yes. So there is a special fund to be differentiated from a special appropriations law. There are laws that create special funds, correct?
Correct.
Very briefly, are these special funds the SAGF, special allotments in the general fund? Is this the same?
The special fund is the law that provides for the special fund says that it is automatically appropriated every year, then it goes SAGF, it goes to account.
So all special funds are or should be in SAGFs, correct? And not all SAGFs are special funds.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Incidentally, the legislature is also involved in terms of taxation as a revenue source, correct?
Correct.
So therefore, when the president says that in the BESF, that it will request for new revenue sources, it will in fact be signaling to Congress that they will be proposing new taxes, correct?
Correct.
Yes, and this is covered in section 28. I will just flash it briefly just so we know. Now, there are limits to what Congress can do with respect to the president's budget, correct?
Correct.
And let's read and parse the provisions very carefully before we go into further interpellation. So let us look at section 25, subparagraph 1. There are two sentences there. The first one is, Congress may not increase the appropriations recommended by the President for the operation of the government as specified in the budget. Correct?
Correct.
Very clear. And it says, the appropriations recommended by the President for the operation of government as specified in the budget, correct?
Correct.
Now, Madam Solgen, there is another word, the same word budget, that appears in Article 7, the President, correct? That was Section 22, where it said the President shall propose a budget of expenditures and
Sources of funds.
sources of financing, correct?
Correct.
As part of the NEP, correct?
Correct.
So therefore, here it is clear that whatever is in the NEP should not be increased by Congress.
Your Honor, may I?
You will qualify.
Yes.
Because for you, the unprogrammed funds, no, first, the automatic appropriations are not part of the budget of the President, correct?
That's correct.
And the unprogrammed funds are also not part of the budget, correct?
They are not part of the budget. That is, we believe that that is not the part of the budget where the prohibition on increasing the ceiling is applicable.
Okay, I'll take that for now. Under advisement. But the point is that, so if you say automatic appropriations is not part of the budget of the President, then I will ask you later to locate it in the Constitution where it is. And the other point is it possible that the unprogrammed funds is not in section 1, subsection 1, but in subsection 4? A special appropriations bill shall specify the purpose for which it is intended and shall be supported by funds actually available as certified by the National Treasurer or to be raised by a corresponding revenue proposed therein, as suggested by one of our amici, a justice of this court in one recent case, and some of the petitioners, that unprogrammed can be disciplined using subparagraph 4. What is the position of government?
It is the position of government that the special appropriations bill is a separate provision in the Constitution. The Congress has the option. It can be invoked, it can be passed, and historically has been passed. In our study and survey of the different special appropriations bills, the length of time could be as, I think I saw.
We can go to the difficulty of passing a special appropriations bill at some point, and it can be part of the query, I think, of some of the justices. But as far as I'm concerned, I just want to locate where you see automatic appropriation. You say that it is not in subsection 1, and you're asking the court to actually make a ruling for the first time that automatic appropriation is not part of the GAA.
Okay. The automatic appropriations, we say that it is not part of the President's budget because the NEP, which is the President's budget, is presented to the Congress for their approval. However, the automatic appropriations, our premise is that it already has an approval. So we were actually asking the BBM, then why are you including it in the budget, which could be a source of confusion? Because people will just look at the totals, but and their explanation is that for fiscal programming and for transparency, so that it is informing Congress of the total allocation, including the allocations for the automatic appropriation. So in
So
that sense,
it is only for disclosure in your words, in your comment, in your omnibus comment. It is for disclosure, not for purpose of appropriation, correct?
yes, Your Honor.
Yes, but there is a purpose for subparagraph 1, and we can go to that later. And whether that squares with your characterization of automatic appropriations is there. And indeed, this court has just ruled in the case of Giao versus Pagcor, where it actually said that there is an automatic release of Pagcor funds to, it's Giao versus Philippine Sports Commission from Pagcor et al. But we will get to that later. In any case, just to flag the different points of view of the parties in relation to unprogrammed appropriations. Now, at issue also is, to a certain extent, presidential certification. I think this was raised by, if I'm not mistaken, the pleading of Pimentel et al., former Senator Pimentel. And what is at issue is the concept of when the president can certify, and flashing to you on the screen, except when the president certifies the necessity of its immediate enactment to meet a public calamity or emergency. So later on, I will ask you, because of the certification, was it possible to ratify the BCC, the Bicameral Committee Conference report, in just the same day that it was distributed? Okay. Just for our information, how thick is the General Appropriations Act? It is a few feet, no, inches.
3 to
Thousands of
4
pages.
volumes.
Yes, and thousands of pages, correct?
Correct.
So they will have the NEP with them, and they will also have the GAA with them, and in between, they have the GAB, they have the Senate version, and they have the Bicameral Conference Committee report, the big one, and the small committee report for 2024 and 25, correct?
Correct.
Yes. So you admit that there was a small committee conference report? Not yet.
I have
Just so I am very clear that it is in fact there, that there was a bicameral conference committee report and preceded by a small committee report.
I have not seen a small committee report
Okay.
yet.
Yes, because I asked you and I wanted you to be more deliberate and conscious, just so the transcript will not show that the government has admitted. Okay, now, appropriations is a special kind of law. It is not an ordinary law. This applies to general laws and perhaps also special kinds of law. Appropriations is a special kind of law because first, it originates from the House, Article 6, Section 24. Second, the President has line item veto on this particular law and no other. Third is by the end of the fiscal year, it immediately lapses, unlike any ordinary general law. It does not immediately lapse, it is reenacted, correct?
Correct.
Yes, and there is in fact a position from one of the petitioners, because of the automatic reenactment, what is always the national emergency involved in passing a law? Just so we're clear that we acknowledge that there is that issue and you had your own response, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. May I now ask, I will call on you later, may I now ask on our amici, Professor Solita Collas.
Okay So hanggang dyan lang tayo ngayon. So kung sa salita nakawindang-windang ang mga sagot ni Solicitor General Darlene Berberabe. Dito ko nakita, sa totoo lang, honestly speaking, dito ko nakita mas magaling ako sa kanya. Bagay, sabi to, nagsisinungaling na kasi siya eh. Ang hirap depensahan yung mga budget na kasinungalingan eh. Kaya yun pong nangyari. Nakakahiya. So, sabi, Gaba, dili mo saba. Isabi mo kay Lovely Granada. So, Emilio, mahirap depensa yan. Puro pagnanakaw. Randy, paano? Puro singhot lang ang pagnanakaw. Domsi, magandang gabi. Noy, Nuka, Kadwising. Kadwising, mahiya. So, sa inisyon ko, hi Doc, ang hirap magtanggol kung ang arguments tama. Marmi, o kumusta ka na Marmi? Sige, mag-ano ka, tawagan mo ako, tawagan tayo, tawagan kita pag after this. Gusto ko magkausap tayo, gusto ko mag-vlog tayo ulit. Si Shai Chonko at si Annie Smith, sino pa, Gigban, what has been done was bending the rule. Super corrupt. Manafort, yay, nakatiming. Ay, salamat, nakatiming ka. Ang ganda ng tawag mo sa akin, Adis. Ay, may tumawag sa akin, Adis. Si Adis Toto Housing. Ano yung Adis? Attorney, doctor, engineer, singer. Adis Toto Housing. Manafort, thank you. Salamat. Jeneline Isaac. Correct lang. Ang alam sagot dapat ka na, yes nga, di ba? Tama nga naman kayo, yes. Kaya dito kayo, nakikita ko na po ang panalo ng bayan laban sa mga kurakutan sa pamamagitan ng unprogrammed appropriations na ginagawa ni BBM. Nilabas, nilahad niyan ni Jokno na lumubo naman sa panahon ni BBM ang unprogrammed appropriations. At mula ngayon, nakikinig ako ng panalo ng bayan. At kaya we are the champions, my friend. Hanggang dyan, tayo. Magandang salamat po.